Hey there folks, welcome to your video on rounding. Before we go into the notes, make sure that you put today's current date and make sure that you put your name in. Mine's Tara Woodyard. Oftentimes when it comes to rounding, we kind of get dizzy because there are so many different rules about it. But what I want to do is take away all those rules and just focus on the fact that it's all about what number it's closest to. Now, before we go into rounding, it's going to be important to review what our decimal place values are. Okay, so our place values. So if I were to go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, what I would say is that the 3 is in the ones column, the 4 is in the tens, the 5 is in the hundreds, all the way up to millions. And after the decimal point, we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it's the same thing, thousandths. It's the same thing, but we just have an extra th in there to represent the fact that we are to the right-hand side of the decimal point. Now, here's the sticky, tricky thing is, it's not quite symmetrical. You have the ones, and you have the tens and the tenths. You don't have any once. I don't know why, but you don't have once. But you do have the ones column here. So say this would come up in rounding if it would say, okay, round to the nearest hundredth or round to the nearest million. Okay, so if this chart helps you out in knowing where a certain decimal place is or a certain place value is, you are totally welcome to have the sheet out just so that you can see where it's coming from. So remember, 5 is the magic number, and it's all about what number it's closest to. So for example, round 293 to the nearest hundred. Now we have two options. We have 200 or we have 300. And what I mean is 293 closer to 200 or is it closer to 300? Well, I say it's closer to 300 because it's only 7 away from 300. If you like a more algorithmic approach, you go to the hundreds column and you go to the right of that. You see that the 9 is greater than 5 because 5 is the magic number, and this turns into 300. This one right here, round 20,934.83 to the nearest whole number. That's another way that we say the ones. So that means that this 4 is in question. Now, when we look at the decimal place 83, that would bring this 4 up to a 5 because 4.83 is closer to 5 than it is to 4. So that would become 20,935. The algorithmic approach to it is you go to the ones column, you go to the place value that is directly to the right. I'm noticing that the 8 is greater than 4. Sorry, the 8 is greater than 5, so then the 4 becomes a 5. Round to the nearest tenth. Not 10, but tenth. So I look at this one right here. Now, is that going to go up or stay the same? Well, when I look beside it, I see that this is a 9. So I'm going to say, oh, to the nearest tenth, that's one decimal place because our tenths column is right after the decimal place. So we're going to get 3.5. Now, of course, I'm going to give you a tricky one. It says right here, round 3.499 to the nearest hundredth. Well, I go to the 100th place now. The 100th is 2 away from the decimal place. So we want to round this one. Okay, so now we look at the one that's directly beside it. We see it's a 9. So the 9 has to round up. Oh! Since the 9 has to, since this 9 right here in the 100ths column, or in the 100ths place, needs to round up, that means that we have to bring this 10th all the way up as well. So it would become, 3.50. And the reason why it's 50 is because we need to round it to the nearest 100th. So this would be the 10th column, and this would be the 100th column. So if you wanted to practice the skill, we're going to go to grade 2, M4, and grade 4, M2, or grade 7, D4.